Go ahead and begin. Looks like our numbers are stabilizing. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the fourth week of Security Break. Security Break is a weekly series. We've launched it to answer your most pressing workplace safety and security questions. The format starts with a 15-minute presentation packed with business continuity planning, strategies, resiliency, and then we go straight into Q&A. We call this Security Break because we want to keep your business moving with short presentations that contain information you can use all in the span of a coffee break. So thank you for everyone who tuned in. We've got folks attending from a range of different industries and throughout the country. Before we get started, just a few notes on format and logistics. In your window, you'll see a poll tab. We've got a couple of polls that'll pop up during the presentation. All answers are anonymous, so we'd appreciate your response. And we'll queue them up as we go through the presentation, and we'd love to see what you have to say about your own situation. To the left of the polls, we've got a Q&A tab, and we'll be addressing any kind of questions at the end, but please feel free to put those questions in as they come up, and we will get to them towards the end. This webinar is going to be recorded, and it'll be emailed to everyone today. And if you know people who are unable to register, it'll continue to be available on our website. So my name is Herb Brichta, and I'm the host of Security Break. That's my picture. My bio's on the website. More importantly, I'm excited to welcome a guest today, Beverly Shelby. She's an experienced interior designer with over 15 years of applying innovative and best practices into building projects. And that includes ergonomics, which is what we're talking about today. She's very experienced with office design, having developed design and furniture standards for commercial, government, and healthcare clients. Final note, AE Works, my employer and sponsor of this series. We offer architecture, engineering, construction management, security services, and planning. And that's all the marketing we're going to do today. So if we can cue up the next slide, please. Our agenda will begin with some ergonomics basics for your office setup, and that'll apply to both your home and your actual work environment, and really anywhere else you work from. We'll move from that into some particulars about your home setup, and finally go into some suggestions for your larger home as a work and living space. And next slide, please. So why should you care about any of this, and why are we talking about ergonomics on a safety and security webinar? Well, some background. Ergonomics and the associated injuries are a relatively new thing. Those of us that entered the workforce even 15 years ago, this didn't have the importance it does now. Back in the 90s, back before Al Gore invented the internet, offices looked a lot different. If there was a computer, it was off to the side and it wasn't used primarily throughout the day. All desks looked way different then. And it took a number of years for people to develop these conditions that you see to the left of your slide, and then a few more years for doctors to do the studying and form conclusions. But now we have a good amount of data and medical information that show that the effects of poor posture and repetitive stress, do things to the body. And those effects, again, on the left side, in the short term, just neck and back pain, headaches, sometimes debilitating headaches, and overall fatigue are frequently symptoms of bad ergonomics at your individual workstation. And if left untreated, those short-term effects translate into longer-term problems that are really lasting and sometimes require surgical intervention, like carpal tunnel and herniated discs. And then some of the effects of those things are listed to the right of your slide, which, number one, decreased productivity. We don't want injured employees, and we definitely don't want decreased productivity. Folks that are injured have to spend time away from work, possibly on disability. And then you have potential liability claims, which you want to insulate yourself from. A lot of this stuff has a very good business case for doing it. For example, the one you have on your screen there, where you can make a $20 investment per employee on proper keyboards and mouse pads to avoid a carpal tunnel claim, which the average time away from work is 27 days. So that's really a no-brainer. And we'll talk about a number of other investments you can make as the briefing moves along. But in the meantime, Beverly, why don't you take us through some basics here?
Great. So good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully you have your workstation set up at home. You're no longer working from your recliner or your bed, and you're out of your PJs, and you have a work area. So to think about how to best support your body and make it as ergonomic as possible, look at the acronym NEW. So you have a neutral posture. Your neck is straight. You're not hunched forward. Your shoulders are loose. Your elbows are resting where they're supposed to be. Your back is supported and your feet are on the ground. Sometimes headaches come from just bad posture, especially if, like me, sometimes I put my foot underneath my leg. That's going to cause a problem. Don't get too comfortable like that. You want to be in a good working position. Eye height and elbow height are very critical part of that. You want to make sure your monitor's at the proper height for your eyes. Again, you're not leaning over with your neck craned, causing back neck pain. And your elbows in their correct position. That just makes your body feel better. And your work area, everything is in easy reach range. You're not stretching too far to get to something. You have everything in your primary work zone.
So, Beverly, the practical application of that is what you're going to get into next. What does that look like in, the actual translated into desk setup?
Exactly. So your optimal desk setup. So at your traditional office and even at your home office, let's understand your seat height. Does it give you the proper knee 90-degree angle so your feet are on the floor? Does your seat back have enough cushion and support so you're not sitting at the edge of your chair? You're actually properly supported in your chair. Your keyboard is at elbow height so that way your shoulders aren't scrunched up and you have a good position while you're typing, and it prevents carpal tunnel. Your armrest is supporting the weight of your arms during that activity. Your monitor height is very critical. Make sure the top of it is at the top of your eyes so your eyes can gaze in the proper direction. And your monitor distance is also good, so you're not straining your eyes to see text.
And Beverly, there's a number of things we can do to maintain that monitor distance through software. As we age, we have trouble seeing the smaller text. Always remember that it's better to adjust your settings on the computer and make that text larger than to lean forward into it and risk bad posture, correct?
Absolutely. So let's understand and evaluate, what do you have at home? Where are you currently working? Are you working from your sofa? Are you working from your kitchen table? Where are you working from? So let's see how we can fix that. Understand you're in control of your work zone now. So how can you fix that? Are you in a 4-leg chair instead of a task chair? How can you modify that 4-leg chair if it's just not working for you? Add either a thin pillow, roll up a towel, put it behind your back, give you some of that lumbar support. Perhaps get a pillowcase and put it on the back of the chair to keep everything contained in there. You could also make sure if you want just that extra cushion, make your adjustments to your chair. It's yours now. If you're physically fit, sit on an exercise ball if you have one. Don't do it all day, but it definitely helps with some movement and gives you a little bit more of that core strength during the day.
And Bev, just a note on those exercise balls for the attendees here. If you're new to an exercise ball, be cognizant of some of the risks of it. Your natural inclination to just push away from a chair. If you do that on an exercise ball, you'll fall. There's actually a number of cases available through any number of the safety websites of people actually developing that injury or classic fall injuries such as wrists, etc. So be cognizant that you're on an exercise ball and that it's not, an entirely safe surface until you've gotten used to it.
Yeah, I don't recommend one unless you've used one before. Also, another simple step that you can do at home, if you're working from your laptop, make sure that the monitor is propped up to the correct height. You don't have to go through the expense of having a monitor arm. Just using books, using a shoebox, whatever you have at your disposal, make sure your monitor is at the proper height and you're not sitting with your laptop on your lap. Having a wireless keyboard is very essential. You definitely want to make sure that your keyboard is at the proper elbow height and you're not turning your wrists in the wrong direction while you're typing. And go ahead, Herb.
Yeah, so Bev, I just wanted to interject. These laptops that we have, they're great for portability, and they've really helped us, be able to work from anywhere. But they are not by any means ergonomically useful devices whatsoever. You almost require that separate keyboard simply to get that difference in monitor elevation.
Absolutely. And then next, where are you working? What type of table or desk are you working at? Sometimes it's nice to get up and go and work at a kitchen counter for a little bit, but make sure that if you are working at a kitchen or dining room table, it's at the proper height. So that way your legs are propped up and you have either shoe boxes or a stack of wood from the hardware store to create a good footrest if you're working at a table or a counter that is higher. So also let's understand your workplace layout. Simple steps. Know what's in your primary work zone. Obviously, you're going to have your computer and your mouse, but make sure that your pens and your notebooks are ready. You have a glass of water. Make sure you stay hydrated. You have your coffee, of course, or whatever you're drinking in the morning. Perhaps your printer, instead of having it directly to the left or the right of you, put it across the room. Take some extra time to, at your traditional office, you would go to the copy room. So understand getting up to walk to the printer helps a little bit.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out that these injuries, these carpal tunnel type of injuries, these are repetitive stress injuries that result from sitting in the same position and not getting the type of movement that we're used to. So if you consider your own individual situations, if you're working from home, you've really lost a lot of the natural movement that happens during the day, even by commuting and going out to lunch and things like that. So it's important to inject movement whenever you can.
Exactly. Other important things are your lighting. Make sure you're in a room with proper lighting. Other than an ambient light, if you don't have a desk lamp, grab your table lamp and put that adjacent to you so your writing surface is properly lit. And natural sunlight, of course, is always great. So other suggestions to try to, just make your new environment, this is probably going to be like this for a while, make it as best as possible. If you can for a few hours a day, make sure you're free from distractions. If you are with family, you have some designated, productive, free from distractions work time. Again, natural sunlight makes you feel better during the day. Add some plants, add some personal touches. This is your new office. Have a tackboard or marker board nearby, just like you would at the office. Simple filing. You don't need a pedestal file cabinet and go through that expense. You can just use some magazine racks for filing and magazine holders. Another critical thing, there's so many different type of presentations about how is the best and most optimal way to do a video conference call. So if you do have natural sunlight, make sure the light isn't coming from directly behind you, because then it silhouettes you out and people can't see your face. If the sunlight's coming directly at you, sometimes it causes just that separation of glare, too bright light in front of you, then you can't see the computer screen well.
Thanks, Bev. And as we start to run up on time, you do have a number of investments that people can consider. Could you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so real easy things. If you're looking to invest for just simple ways to make your home better, go ahead and spend a little bit of money. It's really inexpensive for the right proper mouse pad and has a gel and wrist support to it. If you're tired of working at your kitchen table, and you want to have that separation of home from work, get a folding table. You can get ones really easy from any big box store. They can ship to you directly from shipping places. Have it with the adjustable height leg so that way it's fit for your body size. That's a simple, inexpensive investment. If you really want to, invest in the comfort of how you work at home, an ergonomic chair is great. You can do it from a box store. You can do it from your local furniture dealers also. You can reach out to them. They all have sales right now. Make sure that chair has height adjustability, back support, and arm height adjustability for the comfort of your body. And then lastly, if you really, really want to spend some money on your home office, you can get a sit-stand accessory or a sit-stand table.
And these accessories, the sit stand type of desk, this is I do safety surveys for a large government client. In the past year, I've seen a significant amount of investment on their part in these types of things, as they've recognized the value of moving and changing the body's orientation. So these are great, Beverly. Thank you. Um, so
Great.
if we could go into the next slide, and we'll just kind of wrap it up. These things are important to consider because virtual work is going to be a part of our lives for quite some time. Um, a lot of states have closed schools until next year, so that carries us through August, September. So we've got another 3 months of this. Who knows when the daycares are going to open up? That might provide some flexibility in there, but we just don't know. And then as we continue to adapt to the post COVID environment, if you will, we have these, the possibility of individuals having the quarantine because they went on a trip or because a family member is sick. So you'll still want to get work out of them while they're in those self-imposed quarantines or those self-identified quarantines. And then as we get better at tracking infections and notification of people that may have been exposed, post site visit, they might have an exposure there that you have employees who are otherwise fine have to go into quarantine based on potential exposure there. And finally, we get into these localities, and every different health department, what they're going to do, especially in a multi-tenant building, if somebody has been exposed to COVID-19 and they've had a positive case of somebody working in that building that's now developed it. What do those exposures look like, and how does that impact your business? You'd be best suited to really consider long-term telework as a component of your business strategy. With that, we'll go ahead and move into Q&A. First, let's take a look at the polls. I'm trying to find the results, which are not coming up. If one of the administrators could send me the poll results, I'll read those off. In the meantime, we do have a question, and it says, "Do you recommend overhead lighting or lamp placement for best appearance during Zoom video calls?"
Overhead lighting is great. You want to have a good ambient light around you. Make sure you're not in the shadows, but you're also not so brightly lit. So having that good mix. Most importantly, you want to be able to see your screen and see what's on your desk during that as well.
Okay. So any other strategic lighting placement that you can think of other than not being illuminated from behind, or is that the big one that you're seeing?
That's what I see as my own personal faux pas of just having a silhouette of some people. I want to tell them reorient their desk a little bit, just maybe turn it to the right. So the natural sunlight is actually very flattering on you coming from the side.
Good to know. So we do have one of the poll results. We've got about 80% of our listeners are working from a home office. So a formal setup as opposed to working off the couch or a kitchen table. So it sounds like they've, people have been doing a pretty good job of considering their own ergonomics.
Good.
Just do one last check of the Q&A. Oh, here comes one. So one individual has a specific question about their chair. How deeply should that chair be set? Should the back of your knees sit against the edge of the seat?
Yes, you want to make sure actually your back is supported well. So that way, you have good back support. Also, a lot of the ergonomic chairs, which I always recommend, have that seat tilt adjustment to it. So that way your knees are supported. You don't have a large gap between your under thigh to your knee. So at home, you might need a little bit extra of a pillow to be able to accommodate that and give your thighs that full rest of the chair.
Okay. So it looks like we've cleared all the Q&A. No additional poll results. I do apologize for not having that second question's answers. So, without any more Q&A, I'd like to thank everybody for attending. Our contact information is available there. Should you have any questions, next week we will have Beverly back, and we're going to discuss how we go about setting up our offices to eventually return to them. So, we're looking forward to that. We thank you all for taking the time to speak with us today, and enjoy your week, and we'll talk to you next Friday. Thank you.
Thank you.